It's now time for NRG This Week. NRG stands for Network Referral Group. To learn more about NRG, go to their website, NRG.online. It's now time for another episode of NRG This Week.
Hey everybody, Mike Weiner here, NRG This Week with another episode. Leon is not going to be with me. I'm going to be a solo act today. Very excited to be here. We are having a lot of growth with NRG, and if you have a chance and you have not been to a meeting, but have our cell number posted up, it's 443-756-9656. Send me a text, reach out to me. You come to your first meeting, you get 3 referrals, and once you join, you're going to get 10. What I have noticed recently is the 10 is blowing up. We just had a woman say that the 10 is blown up to 98. Shoshana, she was here a couple of weeks ago. If you're old school and you want to reach me by email, that's fine as well. It's mike@networkreferralgroup.com. But we've had the best 7 weeks in 25 and a half years, a lot of excitement and just a lot of growth. So the website, by the way, if you want to take a look at that, is NRG.online. So reach out to me. I'm doing this 25 and a half years and just amazing. I cannot believe today is July 29th. I know in Baltimore, the Ravens started football practice. So football is in the air. It's very cool today in the 80s. Next 10 days, we're not even going to get really over 90 degrees. But I'm really excited today. We have got a guest. I've known her for a short time, and she came to her first meeting and told me afterwards when she joined, she did not plan on joining. So let's welcome, I was kid, Studio 54, the disco, Angie. Let's bring Angie out, and we're going to have a great conversation. So, Angie, it's great to have you here. How are you on this beautiful Wednesday?
I'm doing fabulous, Mike. How are you?
I am doing awesome. It's great to have you here. And I remember after you joined, you were like, Mike, I was not planning on joining another networking group. So it's kind of interesting. We're going to talk about NRG in a little bit, but take 2 or 3 minutes, talk about what you do. I know, Angie, from talking with you, your business is blowing up and you're becoming an international superstar on TikTok. And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes, but take a couple of minutes, just talk about your business. Let's start with that.
Yeah, well, my business is a financial coaching business called Carlson Financial Coaching, LLC. And it's where I help you get great at enjoying your money guilt-free. And right now, as a former financial aid director, going to college is on the mind of a lot of people of how to pay the tuition bill, handle student loans now that they're back into repayment. And so my offerings do include help with those services as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, Angie, there's always a backstory. There's a reason why someone picks a certain career. What's the backstory with you?
The backstory, the very condensed version, is in college, I double majored in mathematics and communication. And over 20 years later, I have not met another person with this double major. So I spent a lot of my time in the finance field. I spent 9 years working in back-end retirement processing. I did a season of taxes, which absolutely sucked. We'll never do that again. Thank God there's tax people in NRG for me to refer to. And then I spent a decade working in financial aid. So if you think about the office that sends out your aid letter, I was the one putting those together. And I was in the office for 10 years. And then over 6 of those years, I was the financial aid director. So anything that was out of the norm or we weren't sure what to do with all ended up on my desk, which actually set me up so great for my coaching business because financial coaching is all about helping you see the options that you can't see. And so in the financial aid world, most people don't know about this federal grant I talked about on TikTok that went viral. They don't know that your state can help you with your repayment if you qualify for their programs. And so I've been doing a lot of talking on just these things that I thought everybody knew about financial aid because it's so common to me. And it turns out everyone is like, oh my God, thank you so much. Because as humans, we just always are so focused on what we know, and we don't ask questions if we don't know the question should be asked. And so that's my job as your coach, is to help you see those options and verify, is this the route you want to go or not?
You know, it sounds like you took quite a bit back in college. I'm looking at my college, remembering back, Angie, and nowhere near what you took. So kudos to you for getting through all that. So it's interesting because we always assume everybody knows what we know, like with networking, and there's things that I teach, and there people don't know, and we've got to really instruct them. So without giving away a name, you were on a Zoom with me. I think it was yesterday, and you said, "I'm going to have a moment. If I break down in tears, I want you to give a client testimonial, one of your clients, and if it's the one from yesterday, great, because I know you were moved." And I mean, I'm a guy of emotion, and I just sat back and watched you, and I'm like, wow, what one of your clients had this much of a impact on you. So if you want to talk about that situation or one other, but tell us about a client testimonial. And I think the one from yesterday, because it's so fresh, if you want to share that, that would be great.
Yeah, so actually, I'm not going to share the one from yesterday because I want everybody to go to my personal Facebook page, Angie.Carlson.773, and read about that one. So I'm going to share a different testimonial. And this is from a client that I am still working with today. They came to me because their student loans were a mess. They had made 126 payments on one of their student loans that they thought should have been forgiven through public service. It wasn't being forgiven. They actually had taken Financial Peace University with another coach, and they were telling that to him, and he was like, whoa, you need to go to Angie. Like, this is her world. She can absolutely help you. And so they started working with me on their student loans and their personal finances. And once I looked at their loans, I was like, well, I can see why the Department of Education, in my opinion, is not forgiving these loans. And so I was like, here's what you need to go do. And once they submitted that documentation, within 30 days during the government shutdown, that public service loan was forgiven. So that was $31,000 gone. And on top of that, we've been working together now for just about a year. They have paid off over $300,000 in other debt. Wow. Because most people think, oh, I'm going to work with a financial coach and do a fabulous budget. You don't get to $300,000 in a year by doing a budget. That is a lot of the deeper work of what are we willing to look at differently, and what changes do we want to make to get the results that we have. And the nice thing is, when I collaborate with my clients on that, I get their brain going and give them options. And they normally come back to me and they're like, we thought of this and we thought of this. And what do you think? So it's a very collaborative process where you're always in control. And the client I have right now, they were just like, they didn't think that this was going to work for them. They were just like, we're going to be stuck with these loans forever. And now we've got the rest of them on track for the program. We walked them through, okay, here are your new repayment options that we have to pick. We've got that going. And now with all this other debt done, they're just like, they just feel like a weight's been lifted off their shoulders, because, that's between the student loan and the debt they've paid off, that's over $331,000 gone in a year. Like that's life changing.
Angie, some people are watching this now. Some are going to look at this in a year, 2 years, 5 years, and there's going to be people watching this, and they're going to be 50,000, 100,000 debt, 331,000. You kind of remind me. I don't know if it's similar, like a female Dave Ramsey. I'm sure you're familiar with Dave. I see him on TikTok all the time, and there's someone else I'm seeing now on TikTok, and we'll talk about her in a minute. But you mentioned 4 words, and I wrote down, and I don't really understand when you say forgiven by public service. What? And Angie, I talk fast, but I listen faster. What does that mean, forgiven by public service? Because I am not familiar with those 4 words you just used.
So the Department of Education has a program for student loan borrowers called Public Service Loan Forgiveness. So if you work at a qualifying employer, which the Department of Education has information on their website about who's qualifying and who's not, you can have your student loans forgiven after you've made 120 payments while working at that employer. And so those payments also have to be documented, because they need proof that you work there, and there's other paperwork that needs to be done. But if you meet all the criteria, after those 120 payments are made, your student loans are forgiven in that program.
I've never heard of that. That's why this is amazing information. Amazing information. All right, we're gonna talk NRG because we're gonna take a commercial break here in a minute. So you and I were back and forth. I think you said I bombarded you on LinkedIn. I don't even remember it, but it's all good. But you came to your meeting and you joined, and you were not planning on joining. You probably I did this with Dr. Roz too. She was not planning on joining, and I always kid with her. She told her husband, "I'm leaving my credit card in the bedroom, honey. Don't worry about it." So, Angie, you came to your meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You and I met. I thought we hit it off. I love your energy and your passion. And, when people are in a career and they're not passionate about it, I tell them, go get another career or figure out how you're going to get passionate. So when you talk about your first NRG meeting, take a couple of minutes, talk about your first meeting. Why did you join? And what is your NRG testimonial? And that'll lead us right up to the commercial break. So you meet this crazy guy, Mike Weiner, eccentric, a lot of energy, handsome, debonair. I'm throwing in some stuff, but what was your first experience and why did you join and what have you seen?
Yeah, so my networking experience prior to meeting Mike was non-existent. Like I would go to networking groups, but there wasn't really referrals being given, or I would give referrals, but I wouldn't get any referrals. And so I just assumed that I was a horrible networker. And I actually had stopped networking for a few months before I even checked out the NRG meeting because I was just like, this isn't working for me or my business. I'm done. And Anissa Hudak was the one who connected us on LinkedIn. And once Mike had my name, he would reach out to me like once a week. And I was like, good Lord, this guy is like in my DMs all the freaking time. Like I just went to the meeting to get this guy to shut up and be like, just leave me alone. And so I went to the meeting and I was just really impressed with how they handled conversations, how people were actually giving referrals on the meeting. I left with 3 referrals, I had like 3 referrals in like all my years of networking. So getting like 3 referrals on one call was like amazing. And they were like very well thought out. They were very intentional. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just give this a go for a year. If nothing else has worked and I had this much progress in an hour, why would I doubt I'm making any more progress in a year? So let's just join, see what happens. And I don't have the exact number that all my connections have gone up to, but it's well over 150.
Wow. Yeah, I remember I did 10 at a time, and I remember you coming back to me after the second batch, and you're like, all 10 have responded. I think it was 10 out of 10.
It was 10 out of 10 in like 24 hours. Yeah, and it was like in 24 hours. I was like, oh my God. Like this.
Well, you kind of blew me out. I don't expect, even though I run the company and I know what the value, you kind of blew me out of the water with 10 out of 10. So that's amazing. That's absolutely incredible. So, no, I've loved having you around. You're amazing. I learned so much from you. I've learned more from you here at NRG this week. We're going to mention real quick Leon's racquetball because it's not pickleball and it's not tennis. He always gets very emphatic. It's racquetballrevival.com. He works with ages, kids through adults. They do a lot more than racquetball. There's mentoring, there's teaching, there's fellowship. Leon and I go way back. We go back 25 and a half years. And first time we met, I put him in the car with me. We drove to, I think, a government contractor. They booked a hotel. He was in the hotel industry. And that was like $250,000 deal. And we've been buddies ever since. And a little over 9 months ago, I got married second and final time. Finally found true love. And the Leon Thomas Group, they put on events and they did my wedding. There it is, the Leon Thomas Group. And I always kidded, they should have done Taylor Swift and Kelsey, but I don't think they got to them. But anyway, Leon's a great guy. Definitely reach out to him. We will be back right after this commercial break, and we're going to talk a little more with Angie. We're going to talk sports. We're going to talk music, and we'll be right back after this commercial break.
At Rod's Car Repairs, we work on all cars, old cars, new cars, and your car. Car Repairs by Rod.io.
Baked by Brianna has been your Baltimore hometown bakery since 1969. Located in Roxton Plaza, Baked by Brianna. Visit bakedbybrianna.io.
From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
Water. It's everywhere. We drink it, we bathe with it, we cook with it. Coffee's made with water. Toilets won't flush without it. It's used for washing clothes, dishes, utensils, pots, pans, floors, and our teeth. Plants and crops need water, animals drink it, and fish need it too. And don't forget, we can have a lot of fun in the water. Water. What would we do without it?
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Hey everybody, Mike Weiner here with Angie. And we got to get your information up on the screen. If you want to mention, what's the best way for people to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me is through social media. So on Threads, TikTok, and Instagram, the handle is at Finance Coach AC. I'm definitely more active on TikTok right now than the other programs. I can also be reached by email, which that is Carlson Financial Coaching and the number 2 at gmail.com. And if you want to experience an hour working with me for absolutely free, I have 2 free masterclasses going right now. The first one is a guilt-free spending masterclass. So if you are making fabulous money and you're just like, I shouldn't touch it, this masterclass is for you. That happens Tuesdays at 9 a.m. Central and Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central. And if you're a student or parent loan borrower who wants to take control of your student loans, I do have a Take Control of Your Student Loans masterclass that happens Monday nights at 6 p.m. Central or Thursdays at 11 a.m. Central. And I see the registration links are scrolling at the bottom of your screen. Or if you missed that, just pop me a DM on one of the social media platforms and I will get you the link.
Love it. Well, I may have to jump in on one of those. I want to see what you're doing. I have not been to one of those, Angie, so I may have to jump in. So there's a big elephant in the room, and we're going to address it right now, TikTok, because I have never talked to anyone about TikTok on NRG this week, and I feel like I'm with the international superstar because your numbers are going through the roof. I'm just getting into it. You and I are going to talk more about it, but talk about just some basic things. What have you done on TikTok? And what has been the explosive factor for you just blowing up and being this international? I'm going to be able to say, I remember you when. I'm going to be able to do that. So what has happened with you in the TikTok world, Angie?
Well, in the TikTok world, I joined in December and my growth was very slow. I was at 341 followers, I believe, on June 1st. And today I crossed 5,100 followers and I'm still growing because I had 2 TikToks go viral last week, which was not in the plan because that's like catching lightning in a bottle. And not only did I do it once last week, but twice. And I just showed up and was very imperfect. So if you go to Finance Coach AC on TikTok and looked at my 2 pinned TikToks, you will see that the one that went viral my hair has never looked so bad on a social media platform. Like, I'm just going to say that. I feel like I have to say this. I'm going to step outside. My hair was a hot mess. The lighting at the top was awful. And it's at like 267,000 views since the 20th. And then I was in a hotel and it was dark, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear my t-shirt before I go to the amusement park and just film this. I felt like I needed to say it. That video is at like 97,000 views in less than a week. And people have just been taking the actions I've outlined in these TikToks to help pay the college bill. And now they're all coming back in the comment sections and helping me on TikTok's For You page, boost them again, because they're like, oh my gosh, I found $2,400 during an unclaimed property search. My financial aid office not only gave me a grant, they gave me 2 scholarships. And so people are taking actions from those TikToks that are actually resulting in them saving money on the college bill. And so they're sharing and telling them to other people, and then giving me a follow, which is like having my numbers go up. Because if you would have told me on June 1st that I would have all of this happening, I would have laughed at you so hard and been like, there's no way. There is no world that exists where this is going to happen. But because I just show up and I'm consistent and I put things out, and I'm not worried about, is the editing perfect? I mean, my one TikTok, I forgot to edit out a section that's at almost 100,000 views. I watched that back and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed because everyone's seeing me make this mistake. But they don't care. Like, it's crazy. They don't care about you being perfect. They just want you to show up and talk. And that's been the wildest thing, because everything I was told by the experts that you need, like a great hook and great lighting and great makeup, I have none of that in anything that's gone viral.
You know, Angie, one of the cool things about NRG, like when there's been small meetings and you and I've had a chance to talk, we kid about this, and I'm thinking back, because I've run a lot of meetings for 25 and a half years. I don't think I've ever talked to a woman about a headband. You have got the coolest head. If this stuff doesn't work out, you might want to consider a career. I'm just messing with you, you know that. But I love your headbands. They're cool. And you and I have that friendship, and you don't take it, wrong. It's just two people having fun, but I love your headbands. I don't think I've ever talked to a lady about headbands in all the time I've done NRG. So it's you and I having fun. Congratulations on your success in TikTok, and I'm going to be there one day, and hopefully you'll coach me along. So
we can set that up.
We're going to wrap up here real soon. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. What have I not asked you that you would like to talk about? It can be personal. People usually talk about one area of their business that I didn't focus on. I love that question because it gives you an opportunity to drive a point home. So 2-3 minutes. What have I not asked you that you would like to talk about?
I'm not necessarily going to say it's something you haven't asked me, but it's more of like why I always believe a solution exists, no matter how hopeless your financial situation looks. And the reason I'm always looking for a solution is the first 4 years of my life, I had no hearing at all. And so I had to navigate a world where I didn't know what words were. And my parents, back when I was younger, they didn't realize that this was happening. So I remember like them looking at me, looking really sad, being in trouble, and having no idea what I did. I would remember running out in the street in front of a car, which any loving parent's going to grab you. But all I know is my foot was on the ground 1 minute and hitting air the next. And when you're 2 and 3 years old, that's an experience. And then I had severe mono in 5th grade, almost repeated it, got scoliosis. So I had a lot of medical challenges when I was younger that most people wouldn't see as challenges. And what I learned from that is like, you always have to go forward. You always have to put a foot in front of the other. Like, I'm breathing. I have to figure this out. There's no other option. And now that I'm a coach, I've been taking a lot of that with me into my coaching, because a lot of people feel I'm going to die with my student loans. And I'm like, that's one option, but I think that option sucks because your quality of life sucks if you do that. And so what other options exist? And my brain is just very good at thinking outside the box. And that's why my TikToks have gone viral, because people didn't know I can ask my school for these grants. I didn't know I could look at unclaimed property and there might be money owed to me. And it's not just, $40, it's like thousands of dollars. And you can't research and figure out what you don't know. And that's why so many people, in my opinion, are facing the financial challenges they are, because they're relying on research and the information they have, but they have no idea how to apply it to their life. They have no idea that they're researching the wrong thing. And that is always expensive because you're going to try to spend to get rid of that disappointment and that regret and that shame that you're feeling. And this is how I help my clients create the results they create, because when we get all of that out of the way and we stop telling ourselves we're bad with money, or we stop saying, I'm doing all this because my mom wanted me to, or whatever your money story is, like this is where the results come in your finances, whether you're facing student loan challenges or you have money in the bank and you feel guilty spending it.
Wow. Great stuff, Angie. Really enjoyed having you on. 2 last questions. Do you have, we always talk sports. Do you have a favorite baseball or football team, professional or college?
Anything sports wise, it's Iowa Hawkeyes. I'm in Iowa. There's one option for that.
What's the option in Iowa? Hockey?
No, Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes. Caitlin Clark.
Oh, okay.
Hawkeyes.
Okay. All right. Then we're going to go to my next question because I'm an Orioles and Ravens fan. Disco music. Do you have a fit? I love disco. I'm stuck in the 70s. My wife, we weren't even married at the time. She and my mom had a disco party when I turned 60. Played disco music. Is there a favorite song from that era that kind of resonates with you?
I survived a near-death experience. It's got to be Staying Alive. There's no other answer.
You know what? Were you on that survey that I did with everybody? I think I asked about 100 NRG folks. Staying Alive by the Bee Gees came back as number 1. My favorite disco song, and that was a great song. That was a great movie. Kool and the Gang, Get Down on It. But, you know, there's been a lot of great disco songs and so forth. So, Angie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I took some notes. We'll follow up with each other, but I'm glad you were able to be here today for NRG This Week. And thank you so much for being here.
Of course, my pleasure.
Real quick, I'm going to wrap up with NRG. Reach out to me. It's 443-756-9656. Jump on there was a song Love Train. Jump on the NRG train. We will see you next week for another episode of NRG This Week. Thank you.